So the most important part in a song are the vocals. The vocals carry the message, they tell you the story, and especially in this song, the story was guiding us through the production. The story is about the king gathering all the ladies and picking one out, finding out that it was the wife of the Marquis, but he's going to demand the Marquis to give him his wife. And the Marquis is not enchanted by this, obviously. So what is happening is the song starts gently and building up in intensity as the story progresses, and the singer is putting more and more energy the more upset he gets with what's happening. So I walk you through the different stages of the vocal performance and show what we done. So it starts very gently like this, where we have Nico, the singer, and Carol singing an octave apart. Everything is still okay. So a quick one on the treatment of the vocals. Actually, I didn't have to do a lot because the performance was spot on. We took a lot of time getting the energy and the tracking right. We took our time to choose the right microphone that fits the voice of Nico. We started with a bright tube mic from Telefunken, and it was too bright, so we switched to a large ribbon microphone, and it was so sweet sounding. So it basically just fell into place naturally. I'll show you nevertheless what I did. So nothing. A low cut just for the sake of getting rid of eventual rumble. There is not much going on there. I don't know if I had a high pass engaged on the preamp, but since it's a quiet place here, there was no rumble from outside. So no EQ. Compression, let's have a look. There is compression, there's quite a bit of gain reduction going, but at a very easy ratio. So it's 3:1. It's not like really limiting. And I mixed back in some of the dry signal. It's a little bit like with the drums, like a parallel compression thing. So I wanted the compactness of the sound of compression, but without losing the whole natural aspect of the voice. Not because we needed to control dynamics, but more for the aesthetic of the sound of compression, this bally sound. Instead of being all over the place, it's more like a tight sounding performance then, which I like. There is a limiter, but I think it's maybe just catching a peak or two. It's doing nothing except leaving headroom, putting up gain, because I tend to leave tons of headroom when tracking, because the last thing I want to do is overload some converters and get nasty digital clipping, which you can't fix later. So we record in 24 bits, so we have tons of headroom. We are not recording to tape, so we don't have to look at signal to noise ratio or anything. So I track at very low level with tons of headroom, just in case the performance is going overboard and we have something loud and we want to have high fidelity. I can still crunch it later if I feel to. But here there was no need to. You see, this is the raw track, and it's very, very compact already. So compression is really just for sound. The same thing on the vocal. What I did on Carol's vocal was just control. She had a little resonance that was happening in the voice that I wanted to control a little bit. Her voice is very pure, and it's reminding me like if you record a flute, you have a very strong fundamental, and it's sounding very pure with not a ton of overtones, but they can get spiky at times. So I wanted to just control them a little bit and get it a little bit more even also towards the high frequencies. That's why I controlled the fundamentals a little bit. Let's have a look what it does. So it's basically really just evening out a little bit the very strong fundamental, which comes from this very, very clear voice. Then a little cut off. In this range, the voice is so high that I can comfortably cut at 250. There is nothing going on below that. Usually while tracking, I wouldn't go that high, because if you're singing lower, you have information going down up to 100 or something. But here it's very crystal clear up high, so there is nothing going on down here. The same thing with compression. The performance was spot on, so we just needed a little bit of compression for sound more than anything else. And again, the limiter is just putting up the signal because I recorded with tons of headroom. Now let's move on to the next part where we added first more a different attitude to the vocals. It's getting more intense in terms of performance, and we added 2 harmonies to make it well, to get a little bit of the medieval character. But have a listen and see what you think.
Marquis, dis-moi, la connais-tu? Qui est cette jolie dame?
Really nice choiry sound. We didn't multi-track every voice, so it's just 3 voices, which is I love to stack choir vocals, but here it was just what we needed. So 1 main vocal and the other one's just giving more color than anything, like putting a harmony on a lead guitar to give it some color more than making the obvious harmony. So the first vocal is in focus and the other ones are panned out, not hard left right. That would be funky listening on headphones, but just like 58 on the right and 59 and lower in volume to let the main vocal sit up front. Room-wise or effect-wise, it's again an array of different things. I have small room, the dark room, digital reverb, some delays, some long haul, some dotted 8th delays that all blend together and make like a rich sounding atmosphere around the vocal without really noticing one kind of reverb. It's I don't like to put one reverb because it's so obvious that it's this one reverb. Different kinds and different textures just makes it richer. It's like with harmonics, it's filling gaps that you wouldn't have that you would have by using just one reverb. And what I actually really like is to use the doubler on vocals to spread it out a little bit, to make it larger than just one mono vocal. I can show you what I used here. I call it breit, which means large. You take the signal and put it left, right, and detune one side and tune up the other one and delay it. Detune 6 cent on one side and tune it up 6 cent on the other. So it's not an exact copy, but it's a modulated signal, but steady. So you add this to the original and it just adds a little bit of something on the sides. Let's see if we can solo on that one to show what it does. I put off the automation and just leave that one effect, and I exaggerated a little bit to show the effect. So without,
Marquis, dis-moi.
Very straight, and then if I added in a tone just to exaggerate to show what it does.
Marquis, dis-moi, la connais-tu? Qui?
If you put too much, obviously it's sounding fake, but if you add just the right amount, you can see it going from mono to whoop, stereo, and then the delays and everything, which are obviously stereo, also make a big stage and not a tiny little vocal in the center, but yeah, you have a larger vocal in the center and then the room opening up to the back. And there is honestly not more done on the vocals. If you capture the performance right, then that's all you need. A little bit of compression and volume riding. Let me have a look at. There's also quite a bit of automation going on the vocals. One thing I would like to show you is what I do with S's and T's and K's and stuff, because as soon as you add compression, you are exaggerating S's and T's, and they really get all over the place, and it's annoying to listen to. You want the vocal to be loud, you add compression, and then you have all the everything popping out, and maybe you would put the vocal lower than you might want because you think, it's too loud. But most of the time, it's not the vowels that are loud, but it's all the S's and T's and K's. So what I do, it's tedious, but it's well worth it. I go in and clip gain all the S's. So I manually pull them down so that they don't go as hard into the compressor in the first place. And then maybe sometimes I do volume automation on top. So just to keep everything level and not have all these annoying noises. Let me show you one section, and then I remove all the edits I did and see how the S's and T's and K's pop out suddenly. Let's have a look.
J'en tirerai vengeance, mais puisque vous,
Let's listen to the S in puisque.
puisque vous,
Now the S is clearly there, but it's not annoying if I leave it in the original.
mais puisque vous,
The S is really,
puisque vous, puisque vous,
okay, I undo it back.
mais puisque vous,
So it is there, but it's not annoying, and I don't rely on the S's. They do funky stuff. They mess up your F's and they mess up everything. They don't know what they are listening to. It's just the frequency. They pull it down, and then it starts to like this. And it's tedious to do, and it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it. And I always do it to just get a perfect vocal. Yeah, then since we have a metal part, we have some screaming going on, and in almost one go. We did it overlapping because it was just a matter of getting enough breath to give everything. Let's have a listen at this performance, and I show you what I did on it. This is just the perfect metal grain. That's all you can ask for when you record screams. And I did nothing except squashing it. So compression and I think maybe heavy limiting. Okay, so this is really like completely squashed together. I'm not afraid to completely squash screams because the more dirt, the better. If I'm happy if I don't need to use distortion, because this is usually if you have poor screaming and it's lacking grain, this thing, and you try to artificially put it in, then you try to use some distortion or something, but it's always best if you have it at the source and don't need anything of it. So I just squashed it to clump and just to have it really, really tight and aggressive in your face, and that's all. And what I did is, of course, the same thing, because I'm limiting and compressing so heavily, the S's would just kill you if you wouldn't do anything. So let's have a look at one section. If I remove this part and it's just too much, so I put it down by 11 decibels, so it's really a lot, but you need it because the compressor is going to bring it up again anyway, and this way it's really controlled. What I also like to do, maybe I can show it here, is I show you an extreme example of how I just added the vocal to sit nice in the mix, although it sounds unnatural when you solo it. I show you an example. Okay, here if you solo it, you can clearly hear that I massively cut into. I show you what it is unedited. Just too much. It's just on one hit of a drum, and if I leave it like this, it's just going to be messy and you miss the punch. I show you that although it sounds unnatural soloed, in the mix it's perfectly fine. Je te ferai. You can hear it very, very precisely without having this excessive, noisy thing going on. And I do this with all the S's and the K's. I shorten the K's because many singers tend to put too much air into, so they say k instead of k. It's just natural. You put so much energy in, and to just control these parts of the words, it's next to impossible. But I don't care as long as the feeling is right. This is something I can chop up here. So I just let the singer do his thing, and I know that I can fix it easily here. Not a lot going on effect-wise on the screams, just the usual little blend of reverbs and delays. It's actually not that much because I don't want it to be washed out. I want it to be pretty much in your face, the screaming. So it's just a touch of reverbs, except maybe on, for example, the last scream, I wanted to fade away into space. So it is dry up until this point, and then it flies away. Let me show you what I mean. Going back into the room, so I write down the volume so that it just sounds as if it would move away. You go down in volume. Sometimes you can roll off the top end because the less top end, the farther away it sounds, and then you add room and delay and stuff, automate everything in, and create the impression of the voice or whatever just moving back into space, which is a nice end for such a scream. That's pretty much what we've done on vocals. That's it. See you in next episode. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, then subscribe to the channel, and if you need help with your production, check out the link to Tidalwave Studio in the description below. See you!